starting my show off from now on with one of the great lines of the weekend. Next question. I mean, that shit was great. Gardner Johnson, man. I mean, you know what? As much as I give that guy shit too, um, I should be. You know what? It's funny. Xander says this to me all the time. You know what, dude? How can you not like AJ and how can you not like Gardner Johnson? These guys are just as big as shit talkers as you. Welcome aboard. It is a football week, believe it or not, for the Eagles and other teams that are getting ready for the exhibition season. The inductions to the Hall of Fame were this past Saturday, which I thought were dope, especially the Steve McMichael ceremony. Seeing two Canes go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame also. The 10th and 11th players from the University of Miami have gone into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Look, I'll tell you this, man. All the hard work we did in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s and into the 2010s, I got to say this to you. Miami in the last 25 years has owned Canton. We're putting people in on a yearly basis. We still got Frank Gore. We still got Reggie Wayne. We still got Vince Wilfork. We still got a bunch of players that are still going to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, this is just a kind of like a result of all those great teams that we had. I got to give it to my Canes brothers, man. That was absolutely awesome. By the way, I was informed that the Eagles made a move this morning that was a direct result of Clint Hurt. And you guys ended up bringing in Shaquille Quarterman, who's a former University of Miami player who I've spoken to and know very well. And I think he's played in about 63 games. So Clint, he recommended him to Vic, and then Vic recommended him to Howie Roseman. And that's why they made a roster move. And they brought him in. And that is a direct result of Clint Hurt. So we give you that little information here that, you know, one thing is for sure, on that side of the football, it is very evident that Vic Fangio has a control of what personnel and what guys are going to play on Sundays. There is no getting away from that. Okay? There is absolutely no getting around it. Guys, do me a favor. I know you have other options to go each and every single day, and you come here trying to get to 200 likes. Please hit the likes. We appreciate it. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 4:30 Eastern time today. Xander also, what a great job him and John McMullen are doing for Birds 365 and also some of the extra work they're doing on weekends. 4 straight days of practice now coming up for the Eagles as they get ready for the Ravens. That will be on Friday. Bunch of stuff to take away, man. I mean, you know, I haven't talked to some of the folks in the building, people that cover the team. It was a pretty good weekend. We're going to talk about the Sunday practice first, then my takeaways from Vic Fangio, and also some of the player takeaways. So we're going to do that here in a second. But again, I thought that the practice and what these guys were doing on Sunday came to be a direct result of maybe the Thursday night game where they didn't really get the result they were looking for on defense. Okay? Yeah, Xander is stepping it up. He absolutely is. Prince, I appreciate you here, brother. You are missed. How about this, Prince? You are definitely missed, brother, when you are here. Okay? Okay? Yes. Sills, that linebacker they brought in isn't afraid to hit. He went head-to-head with Derrick Henry. Hey, Gator, I can't wait. Good look at that. Gator Zone Miami. I love it, brother. I can't wait to get that rivalry on August 31st, man. One of the greatest college football rivalries of all time. University of Miami versus University of Florida. Dude, I've never been in a more intense football game in a more intense environment in my life than that thing. There is nothing like a Gator and Hurricane game, especially in Gainesville. There is just nothing like it. I never played in a game like that in my life. It's just, I mean, it's crazy environment. It's crazy environment to go there and play that because everybody knows one another. play high school ball against each other. You play little football against one another. Some of the guys that you make all-star teams with, you see them in the offseason all the time. And I got a chance to see Kerwin Bell. Do you know how many times I ran into Kerwin? Kerwin Bell became a teammate of mine. Hey, how about this? Gator Zone Miami. You ready? Galen Hall was my head football coach at the professional ranks, along with Charlie Bailey, who was your D coordinator. Wes Chandler was a wide receiver coach on that football team when I played in the NFL's World League. I played for Galen Hall. And I love Galen Hall. And Galen was somebody I used to fight against when he was the head coach at Florida when he took over for Charlie Pell. Man, great stuff, man. I can't wait till August 1st. All right. So let's fast forward it to a little bit of what we learned this past weekend. You're going to go, as I said, into 4 straight practices. They're definitely giving attention to Isaiah Rodgers. You know, I thought about Isaiah Rodgers and something that Xander said about Isaiah Rodgers. You know, Sills, he's not the most physical guy on the planet. Do you have to be physical in today's NFL? Shit, the NFL is trying to take the physicality out of the game. They don't want you hitting wide receivers. So they're trying to take the physicality out of the game. Doesn't that lead to more athleticism and more athletic type corners to play in today's NFL? That Vic Fangio style of defense, control and contain. Hey, big hitters at the cornerback position, that's not something you're going to see any longer. Those guys are not going to exist because that's not the NFL of today. I think it's rolling into being Rodgers and Slay at the cornerback position. Now, I don't think that's in stone. We're going to get to what Vic Fangio said here in a minute, but I don't think that's in stone. And they're trying to find a spot for Quinyon Williams. There's no question about it. They're trying to find a spot for him. Devin White and Zach Bond look like to be the linebackers, but that's not saying much. Trotter's getting more looks, which is a great thing. By the way, Vic Fangio is not going to play Jeremiah Trotter Jr. because his last name is Trotter Jr. That actually has nothing to do with it. Hey, it's a great story. Part of why the player got to Philly because his last name is Trotter Jr. And what happens with a player like that, unfortunately, the last name people are going to look at and go, hey, man, hopefully he's anything like his dad. When in the end is, I hope he can play. You know the thing that makes him, hey, is he a better athlete than Nakobe Dean? No. Did he have a better college career than Nakobe Dean? No. But he's more reliable than Nakobe Dean. And I think that's what Vic Fangio likes about him. Hey, dogs, you got to be reliable, man. If you're a great football player, that really has something to do with the equation and the evaluation. But, man, if you can't stay on the field, you're not going to play. And most notably, you're not going to be on the roster. I think Nakobe Dean is fading in the eyes of the coaches and the organization. Dude, you're bringing in linebackers. You're starting free agent linebackers over the kid. You're drafting linebackers. Don't you think the writing's on the wall here a little bit? Majority of the reps are going to Zach Bond. By the way, coaches are pointing him out for his toughness and his versatility. That's not a good sign for him. Dude, the worst thing you can be is a player and you're hearing other names but yours being mentioned. When you're in training camp and you're fighting for, I don't think Nakobe Dean any longer is fighting for a job. I think he's fighting for a roster spot. Hey, JM, I didn't hear him. I heard him. You see what JM's trying to do? He's trying to sit there and tell you that he talked him up. No, he didn't. He said 3 words about him. Hey, he's playing okay. The more the conversation is about Zach Bond, head coach is even fucking talking about him. He talked him up in the presser. Yeah, he had a good day. He didn't have a good night Thursday. That's talking him up? Yeah, okay, guy. That's JM's talking him up. He didn't play real well Thursday, but he's had a couple good games. Well, shit, if that's your basis, this guy's fighting for a roster spot. Solid? I don't need anybody solid. I need somebody who can play. Give me a break. Stop lying and making excuses for people that can't play. By the way, you know what he said about the linebacking core? Nothing set in stone. Nothing set in stone. Okay. I do believe Isaiah Rodgers, you know, he's the more technically sound guy. I think he's going to be your corner on the other side. I think Mitchell's going to play in nickel, and I think he's also going to play in the slot. By the way, Cooper DeJean probably won't be ready, I would say, until the bye. I would say the bye that he'd be ready for. So let's put this all into context for Sunday's practice. Okay? And one thing I'll say to you about the environment that you had this past Thursday, your linebackers are awful, like I said, pointed out to you. Even get this, Vic Fangio said you can't play a good defense without good inside linebackers. And you don't have them. You're not a Super Bowl defense. It's a work in progress. How come this? The only person that is agreeing with everything that I've been telling you about your defense is Vic Fangio. Everything I told you. Everything I told you. He's echoing. He's echoing. JM goes that Trotter was laughed at. Then why is he getting more reps than Dean? See, what JM doesn't know, because he's never been in a practice like that before. When you get more reps than the other guy, they're looking at you more. They're looking at Trotter more. He's getting more reps than Dean is. Okay? I did listen to the interview. I listened to the exact interview. Bro, if you think that Vic Fangio was kissing that guy's ass, I'm going to agree to disagree with you. And you can sit back and listen to the rest of the show, because I'm not having a conversation with somebody that fucking heard something completely different than what I heard. And nobody on the planet heard that way. Even John McMullen this morning was like, hey, man, this kid's got to pick it up. He's fighting for a roster spot now. Okay. I heard something interesting. So Vic Fangio's taking an old school style 6 front and he's implementing it. It's almost like the old school Jerry Claiborne wide tackle 6. I hadn't seen that in a long time. The Jerry Claiborne used to be the head coach of the Maryland Terrapins, and I believe he is a guy who took that wide tackle 6 from Alabama and from Bear Bryant, because I think he coached at A&M with Coach Bryant, and I know he coached at Alabama with him. It's an old school. Now, don't get taken by it and think that it's outdated, because it's not. It's an old school way of getting pressure without bringing blitzing. Okay? It's an old school way of doing that. That's right. 626, you have 0 linebackers. They all stink. Don't kid yourself. There's not a linebacker on that team another team would want. That's why you're signing linebackers now off the street. Hey, when you sign linebackers off the street, you ain't got anybody on your team right now. Absolutely. Bryce Huff is still not a 3-down lineman. There's no question about it. So just a little bit more on that wide tackle 6 look. I played in it when I was at Maryland my freshman year. They were called back then DGs, defensive guards. Randy White played in that. It's almost a style of flex. It's an old school way to get to the quarterback. But here's what happens when you do that. Put a ton of pressure on your middle linebacker, and an absolute ton of pressure on your corners. And you got to play 10 yards off the ball. Okay? 10 yards off the ball. If you're going to play that six front. Third and long, probably. I don't think you're going to see a ton of that. Okay? I don't. Okay? Flexen goes, how do you get us linebackers? That ship sailed, dude. That ship sailed. You don't have linebackers. You didn't address them in the draft. You didn't address them in free agency. But telling you since free agency started. Been telling you that. Guys keep telling me about these guys that you're so-called talking to me about. I mean, your defense right now is immature. You got a couple spots on that football team that look good. Okay? Couple spots on that team that look pretty decent. All right. Let me get into Vic Fangio and what Vic said. Please hit the like button, guys. Appreciate it. Edge, at this point, Sills will, with Bradbury and DeJean cross-training at safety, I'm dropping Reed, Blankenship to Mike next to Devin White. No way, man. Can't do that, dude. You're going to have a more inexperienced player with less technique playing linebacker for you. You got to remember something, Edge. It's not the fact that he can't do it. He doesn't know the technique. This is not junior football where you can just drop somebody down like that. Edgerrin Cooper was the answer over Cooper DeJean. Senor, I begged them to draft him. The kid out of A&M or the kid from NC State are both going to start for respected teams in Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Okay? I told you to take those guys. They didn't want to address it. And by the way, I'm not telling you that DeJean's a bad player. I'm just telling you linebacker was more of a need. Still, Peyton Wilson is a problem. Why didn't we sign him? Another how we miss. Hey, Prince, remember the first guy I said when it came to the draft was this. You got to get that kid from A&M. You know, he's not going to go in the first round. He's going to go either in the second or third round, and you're going to get a steal off him. Maybe the kid from NC State also. He's got a little bit more of a history of injury, so you might want to go with the A&M kid. And remember something about A&M. You had Dumbo Fisher down there. You think he fucking knows what he's doing? Of course he doesn't. But one thing he does know is how to sign players. I will flat out tell you, Dumbo Fisher, when he was down there at College Station, he knew how to acquire players. But when it came to coaching them, he's a fucking moron. And he can't coach. Still, he won a national title. Yeah, because he had the team in the ACC and he recruited like a Southeastern Conference coach. He got that job at College Station because he knew how to recruit the southeastern part of the United States. He's a really good recruiter, but he thinks he knows. You know the good thing about Saban? Saban doesn't call fucking plays at Alabama. That's why he hires the best coordinators on the planet. He gets involved when he sees something. Dumbo Fisher thinks he can actually play call. He can't. Okay? I didn't think the kid Colson was poor. The kid from Michigan could have got him in the fourth round. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Chargers signed him. Hey, this just shows you the glaring, absolute, disgusting, the mistake that you made. To this day, you haven't replaced TJ Edwards, and he was undrafted, and you found him at Wawa. You found him at Wawa. That's how crazy that is. You found him at Wawa, developed him into one of the top 5 inside linebackers in the league, and you allowed him to walk out the room, and now the Bears have the best unit in the league. There, once again, is all these people in Philly telling me how great a talent evaluator, that how he is on defense. That's a pure fucking mistake. And you could have signed him for $6 million. And you got glaring holes. Even Vic knows your backers stink. Okay? So do you think nil in college football now is going to make drafts that much harder for Philadelphia? No. I think it's going to make it easier. You know why? Go to the places that have all the money, because that's where all the kids are going to be that are good. I think nil makes college football easier. I'm going to start recruiting kids from Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Miami, Clemson. You think I'm going to recruit a kid from Notre Dame? They don't have nil programs at Notre Dame or Stanford. No, thank you. I have no interest in that. How much you paying me? I'm not paying you. Next. Okay, next. Look at Dick Train. Miami Hurricanes suck, except on Hall of Fame induction day. Is that right, Dick Train? Except on NFL Hall of Fame induction day does Miami suck. Next. Let me guess, Sills doesn't have the balls to talk about the gang and violence accusations against Shiloh Sanders at Colorado. I think those guys up there in Colorado are showmen. Danny hates Notre Dame. Old wounds. Why would I hate Notre Dame, Barb? 40-0 and 58-7. You make it sound like Notre Dame was something that we were concerned about. Notre Dame was roadkill. Yeah, hey, once again, JM, Colorado's irrelevant. They're a 5-win team. I don't talk about 5-win teams. Wake me up when they're relevant. Okay? Eagles D-line sucks right now. Edge rusher's too small. Let's get to what Vic said. Guys, please hit the like button. Sills, we also never replaced Kaiser White. Think about that. You didn't even replace a guy that had 120 tackles on your outside line, but you haven't replaced 300 tackles. Going on your third year now. How about that? Dan Sileo, I heard Bond has been playing good. I heard they love him. Don't you think he could be a good linebacker? Let's see him in the games. Fangio's what's talking about his versatility. JM goes 40 years ago. No, that was Saturday, dickhead. That was Saturday. 2 Canes went in. Year before that, 2 Canes. Year before that, a Cane. I think pretty much the last 3 years, or at least last 4 or 5 years, Miami's put a player in the Hall of Fame almost every year. That ain't 40 years ago. That's right now. He says, did you hear? Yeah, did you hear Vic say? Yep, I did hear that. We're going to get to that. Okay? Please hit the like button, guys. Dan, love your brutal takes. That's why I watch, and you're right. Letting TJ go was such a glaring mistake. Charlie, and you had the kid. Okay? You had the kid. Who signed Barkley for some money? Pittsburgh signed Queen. We could have had both. Or you could have had Xavier McKinney playing in your safety position. Dude, they spend no money over there. By the way, they didn't spend any money on Bryce Huff. They gave him Hassan Reddick's contract. Don't miss Super Chat, Sills. Did I miss one? Let's see here. Golden. Oh, okay. Golden set Miami back, folks. Don't pay attention. He totally did. Al Golden with the University of Miami Owls. The fuck does Temple know about winning football games? Give me a break. Honestly, it's like hiring Matt Rule as your head coach. What the fuck would he know about winning games? Head coach at Temple. What? How about a coach that's won somewhere? Give me a break. I seriously, I used to call them the Miami Owls. What would he possibly know? Have you changed your mind about Hurts? No. Do you think he can get them to the NFC Championship game? With that defense? No, but there's a shot he plays a lot better this year. Sills, plug Peyton Wilson in over Jalix Hunt and keep Trotter pick, and they would have had to address the big holes. Absolutely. Okay? You want to go to the NFL? Come to Miami. DRC. Absolutely. Absolutely. You still do. Look at the edge rushers that they've been putting out. By the way, Calais Campbell will be a Hall of Famer. Hey, respect Temple? Why? What'd you guys do? Invent a new vaccine? Your football program blows. I mean, what do you want me to say? At this point, should the Eagles say fuck it at linebacker and just play Trotter? No. Dude, you can't pay that kind of money on that side of the football and just call it a day on defense. You can't do that. No, man. You can't be waving flags and wasting Jalen Hurts' prime and some of those wide receivers' prime. You're not in that position. This is not about building the Eagles. Dude, the NFC is not that good. So your defense doesn't have to be spectacular. Like Xander does say this, and he's right. Hey, get to the game. Let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. Give me 60 minutes of football. You never know what happens. It's one game. It ain't a 7-game series. Anything can happen in a 60-minute football game. I've been on the side of shocking someone and on the side of being shocked. Anything can happen in a 60-minute football game. Okay? Anything. Dean is only decent at blitzing the quarterback. Yeah, because you have no responsibilities. You can't cover. He can't cover. He can't tackle. Can't stay healthy. So use the one thing. Vic's trying to find a spot for him. So blitz him. One thing Vic Fangio doesn't do. To find a starting player and get him undrafted, they developed him just to see him leave. Your green dot LB gone. Dude, Forrest, how about this? He's a star now in Chicago. Howie Roseman made him a millionaire now. And one of the top 5 inside linebackers in the league. Hey, is he Fred Warner? No. Is he Patrick Queen even? No. Is he Roquan Smith? No. But do you put him on the second level in the second tier? Yeah. And you had him. Big Sills, just a Canadian Eagle fan since Gang Green. I love the show. Hate some of your takes, but I always come back for more. Only trust Birds 365 and you for my Eagle content. That's really cool of you, man. Bob, Sills, any of your sources at NovaCare mentioned Brandon Smith, linebacker, the kid is 6'3", 240. Hey, right now, man, I think they're in a shuffling of the deck there at linebacker. I could tell you this. That was Clint Hurts' recommendation to bring in Shaquille and, at least take a look at him to see if he can help. He's a pretty good run stopper. I thought he was often injured at UM. I thought he was a good player. I didn't think he was an exceptional player. But Clint likes him, knows him. So they recommended him to Vic, and then Vic sent it up to Howie, and Howie brought him in. So I was told this over the weekend, Saturday, actually, that they were bringing him in. I knew it Saturday that they were bringing him in, especially after what they saw in that mess on Thursday. Okay, so, hey, Flexing goes, that dude's not doing shit. Well, you got a toilet bowl full of linebackers right now, dude. He can't hurt. All right. Let's get to Vic Fangio. And my takeaways. By the way, outside of John McMullen, care what the fucking reporters who cover that team say. I mean, why in the world do I have to get it from, hey, Gardner Johnson is perfect in how he treats the Philly media. That's exactly how you treat him. Give him shit. If I want to get stuff, I get it from the coaches' mouths themselves, not by some guy's opinion on what he thinks he heard. You know, it's funny. Xander the other day was doing this too. You know, he said, that's not how I took it. Okay. See, there's a prime example of Xander hearing something different, talking about it differently than what I talked about it. I'm not saying I'm right. But at least I made my own assessment from what the coach said, not by what some reporter said. We both made our own assessments by what we heard from the guy himself. That's fine. That's just difference of opinion. I'm talking about Dean. Read correctly, fat ass. Thanks for the $1.99 flexion. Appreciate it. All right, let me get into what my takeaways were for Vic Fangio over this past, probably from Thursday to today. Okay. I love the fact that Vic Fangio, listen to this. Isn't this fucking awesome? This is all you need to know about Vic Fangio. Guys, this is without a doubt the greatest thing you can ever hear a coach say. Vic was asked the question, so you're going to be upstairs and you're going to be calling defenses from up in the box. Yeah, and he goes, every position player or every position coach will be on the sidelines. He's going to have a spotter and he's going to have some assistants near him, but it's going to be all him. Why is that? I don't want to hear what a guy thinks he's seeing. I want to see it myself. Coaches sit up here, owners sit up here, GMs sit up here. I'm sitting up here. I'm not taking the word of some fucking guy's voice, sending it down to me on the sidelines on what his observation is. I'm looking at it, making my own decision. What was the words he was using? I'm not taking some guy's word for what he thought he saw. I was like, it's the best answer you can say, man. He's like this. Hey, I don't care what that guy thinks he saw. He goes, we're going to call this play. Okay. I mean, great stuff, man. He's right. All position coaches are going to be on the field and not up with him. He don't want to hear from him. What did he say? Yeah, they're going to echo what I want to the players. There is one rooster in the hen house, and that motherfucker, it's Vic Fangio. He don't have anybody suggesting shit to him. Nothing. He ain't got shit. Okay? No, all position coaches will be on the sidelines talking to their players. We'll be echoing what I'm saying and what I want. Okay. One rooster in the building. Vic Fangio was involved in bringing back Gardner Johnson. Need a little attitude on this motherfucker. Bring his ass back. He goes, he was right to say this. How he made the decision. Think about that. How he made the decision for coaches. I hate that dynamic. How we should never have the last call. It should be a coach's call. This is what I want, not what you want. Fuck that guy. You need a step stool to look at half these players and coaches. What would you possibly know about building a defense? You never have. What would you possibly know? You make massive mistakes on that side of the ball. As good as he is on building that offense, he is horrific on that side of the ball. Sorry, guys. I will not relent on that. He is terrible. Now, is that by the organization? You know, I hear people, and I even hear some of the guys on Birds 365 going, a lot of talent over there. Talent's code for not having done anything. Prospects, bullshit like that. Not when you have 2 free agents starting for you at linebacker. And your top edge rusher is a free agent. Both your corners are free agents. And now you're working. But by the way, Isaiah Rodgers, if Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay start, there we are again. 2 dudes you didn't draft. And by the way, and I'm not saying probably Quinyon Mitchell's not up to speed yet. That's okay. Hey, and don't think I don't like the kid. I do. Not saying that. Thoughts on Gardner Johnson talking no shit in the presser. I'm going to get to it. Okay? Hey, Pete, man, I didn't know how this guy was going to peel off to younger players and shit. That really has no bearing. I like what he's doing. I do. I like the attitude that Gardner Johnson is bringing. Seals, if Fangio stays next year, what position do you think he's going to be next foundational piece? I think he's going to be an edge rusher, and I think he'll take a linebacker 2nd or 3rd round. Something like that. Seals, how he needs to commit to Becton and at right guard and then move Tyler Steen to OT for LB. We have an interior offensive line depth. Move Steen before he hurts his trade value like they did with Andre Dillard. It's a good thought process. Plus you put Becton in a position where that if he pans out, you sign him to a contract. 2 players you haven't replaced since 22. Isaac Seumalo and TJ Edwards. You just have not replaced those 2 men. You have not. You might hear with Becton. You might hear. Okay? And I like the idea of not devaluing the value of Tyler Steen by making him a swing tackle, swing guard, what have you, and creating him as a depth piece. I do like that idea. Okay? Since no linebackers available, any defensive lineman you would recommend to bring in? Al Woods, Linval Joseph. Eagles podcast. Call the Chargers and see what the deal is with Joey Bosa. And by the way, call a shitty team like the Raiders. What are you going to do with Max Crosby? What's the point of paying Max Crosby that salary? If you're going to move off of Khalil Mack the way that the Raiders did back in the past, what's the one thing you can always count on with the Raiders? They're cheap. If you gave the Raiders the right trade package, I believe they would do the move. Tom Telesco would do it. You know why? They're cash poor. That's not a rich owner, Mark Davis. But you're going to have to give up equity pieces for a guy that's 26 years old and one of the 10 best players in the league. Okay? Remember, the Raiders moved off of Khalil Mack. They would move off of Max Crosby. Okay? They would move off of him. They've talked about moving off of him in the offseason. Right deal. Hey, dude, here's the one thing you got to remember. I would say there's only one player in the National Football League that's untradeable. And that's the guy in Kansas City. The rest of them, if the package is right, I'll trade anybody if it makes my team better. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. There's no doubt they're going to play a ton of players at linebacker to see if they can find the right pieces. Okay? Homie plays every down, too. Prince, he's such a force. Pete goes Raiders. Get this. Here, look at what Pete just said. Pete, you're right, by the way. You're not wrong. Look at this. Raiders don't want to pay a quarterback. Well, then what the fuck would make you think they'd want to pay a rush end? Right, Pete? Pete, think of that. They don't even want to pay a quarterback. Why would they pay a rush end? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. I mean, yeah, Crosby's not 30. He's 26. Sills, I'd offer LV a first and a fourth for Crosby. Might be overpaying payment. Burns was a second and 5, but nobody will care when he locks down the edge. Hey, dude, you have Max Crosby and Bryce Huff on one in each end, or you have Josh Sweat and Max Crosby with Carter and Davis in the middle. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about getting after folks. Even the kid Hendrickson in Cincinnati, I'm good with. He's an underrated ball player. He's an underrated player. Could be Trotter that eventually does earn the mic job. I don't think he's ready yet, but they're giving him a lot of reps. Agree with Johnny Mac that Van Sumeren should get a look. Dude, I think nothing is in stone at the linebacker position right now for the Eagles. Okay? This is so great. Miss having hard-ass coaches. Well, Dylan, you got him. Hey, Prince. Crosby, Huff, Dean, and Carter. And Milton's in there somewhere too. Hey, dog. That's as good as it gets. You're getting after people's asses with that D-line. Dude, even if, hey, that's why the kid from Tennessee doesn't make sense, because you've already put the equity in with the 2 draft picks at 9 and 13. You're not going to go trade for Simmons in Tennessee. You need an edge guy. Guy in Cincinnati. Call Tobin and call Duke Tobin and see what he wants to do with him. They were talking of dealing him anyway. Atlanta made a move for him. Sills, with CJ going down today during practice and they put in Bradbury as his backup, do you think we should go out and sign Simmons? See? Hey, Eduardo, this is exactly why Bradbury is on the team. Bradbury is Vic Fangio's safety net. He doesn't know what he has with the young guys. Okay? Hey, by the way, I think James Bradbury is in the catbird seat in Philly. Here's why. If they cut him, 15 teams will sign him. Not to the same salary, obviously, because they'll sign him on league minimum, but teams will sign him. And the Eagles are in a position where, what do we really have? Who are these kids? Isaiah Rodgers is winning the left corner position, or cornerback 2. What's that tell you about your young guys? Ain't quite ready. Ain't quite ready. I think Keely Ringle's going to be a great player. You know what, though? Needs more reps. What is the one thing that makes a football player great? Playing more football. Not in practice. Playing more football. Simple. This is not hard. Cooper definitely isn't ready. He won't be ready until the bye. Thank you, Prince. Please hit the like button. Sills, the thing that Simmons does is he solidifies the position if Davis doesn't have it in the tank with his size. Bob, I'd rather have Justin Simmons. Here's why. If my linebacker sucked that bad, I need to have reliability at that safety position. That is the problem you have. Here, think about it. Bob, do you agree or not agree? If players get past the first line of defense, the D line, your backers ain't making plays. They're going to run into safeties and free safeties. And if those guys aren't reliable, they're going to run and they're only thing they're going to hit is the barn door in the end zone. Okay? You got to have reliability and durability back there. Reed Blankenship's okay. Don't you want stability and reliability back there? I mean, if your linebackers were exceptionally talented and they were great, I'm gonna play my younger guys back there. But with my linebacking core being so poor, I've got to have reliability at that safety, both safety positions, free and strong, and slot. Or guess what? Running backs and receivers are going to slam into the goalpost because they're going to be so wide open. Your linebackers are the worst in pro football. He knows that. He knows that. Okay? You know the only advantage you really have is that the NFC, I don't think, is deep outside of 4 teams. But if you were in the NFC, you'd have problems all night. You ain't playing with that defense against Lamar and Allen and Mahomes and Burrow. You're not going down the list with Stroud and them guys and beating those teams. You got your own defensive coordinator talking shit on his own personnel. This isn't me. I'm echoing him. You guys can get mad all you want. This is Vic Fangio talking. Look at this guy. You're crazy. Devin White's a stud. He'll show it. Devin White is someone's trash. Guys are delusional. Like I said, there's just zero talent at linebacker. Huff is still a work in progress, according to Vic. You sign a guy who's a work in progress on a team that can't stop the run or pass. Now, look, I'm going to give you this. One thing that I do agree with, having watched some of the film and some of the stuff that went on, there was no tackling, okay? And that is a factor, and the quarterback wasn't live. So there is a dynamic to that. There is a dynamic. Remember something, folks. These are Vic Fangio's words, not mine. Okay? These are his. And here's LJ, once again, with the fucking preposterous thing again. You wanted us to trade a first rounder for Devin White last year. That's right. So did everyone in the league. And by the end of the year, the Bucs and him were talking about a $100 million contract. By the end of the year, his play became so poor, the player dictated why they let him walk. He got worse, just like Carson Wentz did. A player's career is not set in stone at any time. This is not hot take shit. Once again, if a player gets better or worse, it's on the player. Not my fucking take. Devin White became a casualty of his own ineptness and his own ability. That's why he's on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Star linebackers who go from a $100 million contract conversation, which he was in with Jason Light, facts, to where they looked at him and now the Eagles signed him to a 1-year, 3-year deal. Senor goes, this is flip-flop shit. It's Carson Wentz shit. You flip-flopped on him, dog. You guys thought he was great. He sucked in the end. What happened? You flip-flopped. Did you not? The Sills killed. What? Hey, dude, have a great day. How about this? Let's take the words of Vic Fangio here. These are his words. Bryce Huff is a work in progress. He's a work in progress. You gave $18 million to a guy who you didn't have a guy on the other side who could protect him. And you let Hassan Reddick walk. Nice move. Okay? Okay? How about this? He said something that was so great today that makes you understand why you have to have versatile linebackers and versatile players all over the field. It's fantastic. And if you think about it, he's right. He said something today that most people won't pick up. You know what that is? That today's NFL is more in space today than it's ever been. And that's why you have to have versatility at both your edges, and also you have to have it in your linebacking core. And he's dead on. Today's game is in space. Okay. It's not in the phone booth like it used to, because that's why the running backs are no longer an essential part of what they're doing. It was really a great take by him. He said this flat out: if we're going to be a good defense, we have to have good inside linebackers. And right now, it's a work in progress. Code for we suck. These are your own coordinator rules and sayings, what he's saying to you right now. Okay? This is exactly what he's saying to you. I so love this guy. By the way, I love the fact that he said that he loves Milton Williams. What have we been telling you for the last 3 years about him? Guy's a versatile player. I think I've been telling Xander this as well. This guy could play in a 5 or 7, wide 7. Play him up down the line of scrimmage. Vic even made a play for him last year when he was with the Dolphins, tried to get him and trade for him to bring him down to Miami. So when I tell you that there is a massive market out there for Milton Williams, trust me when I tell you, you might get a second rounder for that guy. Howie didn't want to trade him. When Chris Greer called, he wanted to trade him. Dolphins were going to give up a 3. Same as they drafted him. Howie said no. Howie said no for a 3rd-round pick for Milton Williams. Remember when I told you Milton Williams, everyone's saying this. I was making a comment. Milton Williams has not lost his value since he's been drafted. Look at Kobe Dean's value. That guy's a free agent, lucky to be in the league. This guy, how many years has Milton Williams been in Philadelphia? Can you guys tell me? How many years has he been in Philadelphia? And he's primarily been a backup. How many years has he been in Philly? This is fourth year? Going on to his 4th year? How does a guy who never starts, 3 years, how does a guy who never starts not lose his value? It's a great draft pick. It's a great draft pick. Doesn't start. And you could get a 2 for him. Or how we would want a 2. Or a low 1. Let me say this to you. That guy plays like I think he's going to play this year. That guy will make $15 million in the open market. He's played his last down in Philly. Or his last year, I should say. That guy's going to command big money. Big money. Zach Bond. Hey, all you Devin White lovers. This is what he said about Zach Bond. Versatile. Love him inside and outside. He's going to play a ton. He brings a sense of toughness to the team. We like him a lot, and I like him a lot. Well, if you're Nakobe Dean, that ain't a good thing. And now they just signed a linebacker. That's the writing's on the wall, son. You're fighting for a roster spot now. All you Devin White lovers, He's fighting for a job. You know who Devin White is this year? He is the 2024 Rashad Penny. Nolan Smith. Got to utilize his speed. He's too small. I hear big talk. He's just as brutal as it gets. Okay? Just as brutal as it gets. Nolan Smith. Hey, he's not the biggest guy, so he's got to use his speed. I was going to say Jalen Reagor. Okay. Hey, yeah, well, according to some folks, go listen to the interview. He said he's not the biggest guy on the planet. Nolan Smith, man, there's another guy you could chalk up to, well, the land of mediocrity. Quinyon Mitchell, drafted him as a corner. That's what he said. They're trying to find a spot for him on the field. Hey, Sills, if Vic has control, why would he allow Howie to pay $18 million for Huff when he could have kept Reddick? Don't give me locker room issues. Oh, I don't think there's anything to do with locker room issues more so than this. Reddick didn't want to drop in coverage. Vic wants his guys dropping in coverage. I think it's as simple as that. By the way, once again, I'll make this point to you too, 34. When you do your homework on the guy and you see he only played 480 snaps last year, I can't wait to see what he does with 900 snaps. He's going to have to double his snaps. Even though when I say this to you, every guy who doubled their snaps last year on the Eagles, their production went down. But his will go up, right? Okay. How about he said that they got to improve in tackling a little bit? Got to improve on tackling. I think that's kind of hard, though. I think that's kind of an old school comment. Because how do you improve on your tackling? Please hit the like button, guys. Thank you, Prince. Big Sills, why is everyone so opposed to putting best team on the field regardless of draft stock or name on the back of the jersey? It's a great question. Here's why. Because there's certain people in here that suck off Howie Roseman. No matter what he does, they think this guy's the best GM or the greatest GM on the planet. He's not. He makes great deals. He finds guys. He's better on the pro side. College evaluating. Dude, how many loser wide receivers have you gone through with him to get to Devontae? 10? How many loser edge rushers have you gone through? You still don't have one. How many loser corners have you gone through to land on one? Maybe Williams? How many loser linebackers have you drafted just to be cut? I mean, I'm with you, Darren. The one thing that I always gave great kudos to for New England was no matter what round you were drafted, they were playing the best guy available. Darren, think of this for a second here. The New England Patriots give Drew Bledsoe $117 million the year before he got hurt with a $19 million signing bonus. Back then, it was a big deal, right? He gets hurt against the Jets, Mo Lewis. Kid Brady comes in, 6th-round draft pick. Goes the rest of the season. Then he gets hurt. Bledsoe comes back in the AFC title game, and he wins it. Instead of sticking with the experienced guy and the money guy, he goes to Bob Kraft and says, you know what? I'm hanging with the 6th-rounder. You know why? Because in New England, the best player plays. Not the highest paid player or the highest drafted player. That's why they won, man. It's about playing the best people. You're right. But see, Howie's got so much autonomy. He's in so many different sandboxes. that one of the sandboxes, by the way, it's not that bad a deal. That, he's great at contracts. He's great at manipulating contracts. I think he's great at finding players on rosters, pro personnel, other players that have been developed. Darius Slay, Gardner Johnson, A.J. Brown. These are some of his best moves, but what are they? They're pro personnel. They're not college personnel. They're not college personnel decisions. And he's really good at that. He stinks at defensive personnel. You're going to go like this. Jalen Carter. Dude, 9th pick? That guy could have been the 3rd pick. Wasn't that hard? I think you overdrafted Jordan Davis. I'll still hold to that, and I say that to this day. And I don't think he's not a first rounder. It's not what I'm saying. By the way, Angelo Cataldi will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Sills, the moves, trade Steen to Cincinnati for Hendrickson. Trade 1 and 4 to Las Vegas for Crosby. Sign Justin Simmons. Hendrickson, Crosby, Milton, Huff rotation. Bob, that's the perfect world. That would be an absolutely insane perfect world if you were able to pull that off. I mean, absolutely a perfect world. It's not over drafting if other teams wanted him. Like who? Is there at least 27 other GMs worse than Howie? Chipped, you're missing my point. He does so many things well. But what the problem is that the ramifications of what happened to him with Chip Kelly, I mean, he has to have total control. He's the only general manager, really, that I've seen with these successful coaches that has complete control. Nick Sirianni works for him. In other places, the GM works with the head coach. You think Jim Harbaugh's got a boss? You think John Harbaugh's got a boss? You think Brian DaCosta is his or Nick DaCosta is his boss? He's not. He's not. Skip here. Let's now go into Nick Sirianni. Okay. Sills, what about trading for Logan Wilson, linebacker, for the Bengals? Why would the Bengals do that, man? The Bengals are in the run right now to win the NFC. He's a good football player. I'm with you. I mean, but why would they do that? He's a good player, man. Thank you so much, Prince. Prince is kicking ass right here, man. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. Sills, the things that Howie does well allow him to mask his huge issues with the draft completely, man. By the way, I'm not telling you Quinion Mitchell's a bad pick, or I'm not even saying Cooper DeJean's a bad pick. I don't know yet. Okay? Seals, do you honestly think you can do a better job than Howie? No. I'm commenting what he's done. You're missing the point, guy. I never said at any time I could do a better job. When did I say that? When did I ever say I wanted to be a GM? Never. I don't know what you're talking about, Jay Brown. I'm talking about the shit he's done. I'm talking about his track record. Not about whether I can do it better. I wasn't hired to be a GM. He was. You're evaluated on your record, bro. Not what you think he's doing. So I don't know what you're talking about. Do I think I could do a better? No. I've never been in a personnel role in my life. What's that got to do with his failures? Has nothing to do with it. Madness goes, Seals, most people hate the truth. Don't ever explain. No, I mean, Madness. What's funny is I'm telling you who he is and they don't like it. You're right. what he's done or not done. I give him his kudos. And like you said, I don't have to justify shit here. Here's Sirianni. You know, Sirianni stops himself and he cuts himself off. But I'll tell you one thing. Hey, Nick, shut the fuck up and over-explaining shit. Please just answer a question normally instead of these soliloquies that you go into. My God almighty. Hey, we're having a good week. Things look good. Communication's working great. Love the way the coaches are working together. Next question. Holy shit, this guy goes into some fucking diatribe. You're sitting there going, okay, shut up. Nope. Another 4 minutes answering a stupid question. I'll tell you one thing that he is great at. He should work at the State Department because you know why? You're only going to get 3 questions in. If you got 15 minutes with him, be prepared only to get 7 questions because he'll run you out of the interview. It's a cool trick. It's a cool trick. Okay? The longer the answer, the less the questions. That's what our politicians do. Remember that. The reason why Belichick was so great at it on the Cincinnati. Hey, is the player injured or not? What do you think? He goes, no, that's the medical people. You want to talk to them. We coach, they're the doctors. Next. Coach, is there any thought process of we got to play better? We got to tackle better? Got to coach better? Here's a Bill Belichick interview. Here's totally a Bill Belichick interview. Hey, Coach, that was a pretty tough game this last week. Got to coach better. Players got to play better. Got to be more in tune to what we're doing. Now we're on to Cincinnati. Coach, any thought about moving? Got to play better. Got to coach better. Each week's a new week. Coach, what about the injury to the tackle? You need to talk to the medical people. I coach their medical guys. They're doctors. Coach, any thought about rotating new wide receivers? Nah, we got the group we need right now. Very good in what we have. We're very happy with what we have, and we're going to go forward here. Just need to coach better and play better. These questions that Nick answers, holy shit. Shut the fuck up. Good night. And by the way, stop kissing the guy's ass for doing his gig. That ESP guy, totally a Bob Lang. Hey, Nick's having a camp. How can a coach have a great camp? Players have great camps. Nick's having a great camp by what? Staying out of the way? Holy cow. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. That ESP idiot saying Nick's having a good camp. Why? Because he's out of the way? I'm not sure how to take that. Hey, Nick's getting out of the way. Okay? Nick's out of the way. He's having a great camp. Okay, I guess. Fuck. Hey, Nick's out of the way, but he's having a good camp. Okay. I guess so, dude. Congratulations, Nick. You're having a really good camp. You're out of the way. What a dick. Hey, they like this guy Shipley. They like him. Xander don't like him. But Nick and everyone else compared him to Danny Woodhead. I was like, Danny Woodhead was a really good ball player. And they think he reminds them of Danny Woodhead. Tough. Good. Funny, I never saw any of that at Clemson. Danny Woodhead? Will Shipley's Danny Woodhead. Oh, hey, we'll see. Get a first look at that this weekend. Prince is right. Peyton Wilson should have been our LB. As an Eagle fan in Steelers country, it sucks to see him. He's the first guy out there as a rookie. Hey, Layla, he's starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said the guy, Edgerrin Cooper, who's starting for the Packers. I go grab one of those two guys. Make your team. Nope. Nope. Zach Bond. Huh. Mikey says Nick's having a great camp. He's improving at shining. How he shoots a kiss in the center of the bullseye, Mikey. Barb goes, Steelers have no quarterback. Barb, they haven't had a quarterback in the last 4 years since what's-his-face left. Since the guy who likes to take out chicks, and you know where he takes them to, Barb. He likes to take them to shit houses and make out there in the stalls. Ben Roethlisberger. He's a real classy guy. Hey, where do you want to go to make out? How about a toilet? Nick has improved the smoothie machine. Peyton Wilson was there in the third. I know he was. Micaiah Becton, though. You notice one thing they don't want to do? I'll tell you, tell me you did it and you are noticing this. By the way, Xander will join us at the bottom of the hour. And then at 4:30, our friend Angelo Cataldi will join us. You notice what Nick did on, was it Sunday that he talked? Was it Sunday that he spoke to the media? Notice what he said and how he said it about Micaiah Becton. Yeah, he's getting the reps. Looks good over there. I don't want to commit to anything now. Why? How he drafted Tyler Steen in the third. Becton's a free agent. See how they look at players? Becton's a better player. Micaiah Becton's a better player. How he drafted that guy, though, Tyler Steen. You don't actually believe Tyler Steen's a better ball player than Micaiah Becton. Nobody does. Guess what happens? So you got to pay. Hey, Micaiah Becton turns out and he plays well. You got to pay him, or you got to let him roll. Tyler Steen, he drafted him in the third. That's why Nick answered this the way he did. You notice how Nick answers questions versus Vic? Guy's not ready to play. Here's Nick. Well, I don't want to be committed there in anything at right guard right now. Well, who's playing the best, Nick? The guy who's available. I'll say it one more time that he's right on this one. Not live on hitting the quarterback and not live on tackling. You still got to put that out there and put that in the machine, in the equation, in the evaluation. So you've got to walk it back a little bit. That the defense was murdered this past Thursday. So you have to walk it back. Okay, you do a little bit. You got to kind of like, there's no tackling, no live simulation on hitting the quarterback. The quarterback's not live. There's some truth to that. You got to pull up on the quarterback because he's not live. Okay, it's true. Thank you, Prince. Please hit the like button, folks. Appreciate it. Still mad at Howie for drafting Tyler Steen over Jones. I'll say this to you, too. Music. End of the day here, too, man. Our good friend Barrett Brooks said he wasn't quite sure about Steen being taken that high. Sills. So I was right then, Sills. On what? Say, refresh me, Prince. You were right on what? Why doesn't any of the media guys say, Nick, in 30 words, in 30 words or less, can you describe camp so far? That's a great take. Hey, Nick, in less than 30 seconds, can you tell me? Oh, my God, it would be an insult. That's why. Hey, Nick, in less than 10 seconds, can you tell me what you think of camp so far? So I can get another fucking question in. It'd be more of an insult if you did something like that to a head coach. Okay. Hey, by the way, Steve goes like this. These aren't great takes. What do you mean? These are your coach and Vic Fangio. This is their press conference. You don't like what they're saying? Sorry. This is what you get with those guys. I think Vic's press conference was great. I think they were great. Hey, once again, folks, you see how people, once again, they don't like what they're hearing from the horse's mouth. From the horse's mouth. They think those are my words. They're not. They're not. What am I look at this. According to this dickhead, Steve, I wrote down all their comments. I'm not making this up. I listened to the entire interviews of Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni. How am I making that up? Why? Because you want me to respond to some asshole reporter and his takeaway from what he heard? I don't do that. I have my own thoughts. I don't let anybody mislead me. Like the news misleads most of Americans today. I listen to the people themselves talking. Guy calls me a dickhead for quoting Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni. There's a guy that don't like the truth. Shit, man. Steve, I know who you're voting for in the fall. Let's see here. I do like the fact that they're working on communication, okay, with the coaching staff up and down the line. That's good because a lot of new guys, okay, totally. Okay, look at Greg. You know we have truth issues in Philly. You said I was making excuses. For Prince, please, I'm sorry, man. I'm a little slow, Prince. You said I was making excuses for? Oh, for the tackling and the quarterback not being live. No, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. There's something to that. But Prince getting blown off the ball at the point of attack, that's got nothing to do with tackling. Not being able to cover Kenny Gainwell if you're a linebacker, that's nothing to do with tackling. You can't cover him. There's some truth to it. Okay? Look at this here. I'd sooner watch Sil's daughter box at the Olympics than watch preseason games. Well, unless she's fighting a dude. I'm going to leave that alone. Got more important things to talk about than somebody who's either a juicer or a dude. Pick one. Both are illegal. You know, somebody asked me about that. Sills, what about the Olympics and the dude beating up the chicks? I go, well, there's two things here. You suspend people for high levels of testosterone for juicing. If you're a racer or a shot putter, or the other one is they're a dude. Pick one. Both illegal. Juicer or a dude. I don't know. I don't think it's that hard. No pun intended. Working on chemistry right now. By the way, I liked how Nick did say this, that Gardner Johnson shot that he hit to cancel a meeting. That shit does matter. I think that stuff's pretty cool. I do that. I do dig that. I like it. I do. Vic says that, or excuse me, Nick says that Jalen Hurts is showing a lot of leadership signs. I think one thing that I will say about Jalen Hurts this offseason here, he has made it a priority to be front and center. And he's worked at it. We'll see when it's going to be tested. If he applies it when it matters the most, because he didn't do it when they needed it the most. A lot of people are getting wrapped up into practice. They were saying the same stuff last year. I'm not buying it. Show me in September. Absolutely. But what you want to see, disciple, kind of the format of what they're doing and how they're building and trying to get away from certain things that hurt them a year ago. Okay? Crowley goes like this. What leadership? Leadership in practicing what he fucked up on the OTAs and the mini camps, how atrocious he was. Speaking his mind. Offense is 95% new. Organization had a cow with it. Got their panties in a bind. Hurts didn't care. His attention to detail. Going out and practicing as hard as he does. All that's leadership, man. Leadership comes in different and different looks. It's not one thing on one shelf. Some of you want to put everything in a box. It's not true. Some guys lead differently. Derek Jeter. He led quietly. Gary Sheffield led with an iron fist. Some people approach it differently. Okay? It's practice, though. Get this. See this right here? Hey, Bob, tell Crowley why he's full of shit. It's practice, though. Show me the leadership in December. He's not wrong, but think about what he said here. Think about this. If you do things on a daily basis and you practice everything that you want to convey to your team every single day, getting water, going to meetings, talking to your teammates, and every single day you are applying what you want to have happen in December, it doesn't happen in December. It happens right now. All the things you want to have happen in December starts today. Right now. You think this shit's a switch? You gotta practice. If that's the case, why do the Eagles have practice? Just wait till September 6th. Go play a ball game. Why do you think you do the same play over 100 times? Why? Because you could turn a switch in December on? Sills, leadership starts now so that the team will follow when the bullets are flying. Amen, man. Amen. Jalen was a leader from the second he got to start. Hey, Andres, where was he the last 3 months of the season? Can you help me out? I must have missed that guy. He must have jumped off the boat. Sills, he was one of the one dog in Hurts' leadership skills, though. Yeah, I said he's working on them. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, I just said he's worked on them. You can see it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Corporate DeJane. Missing a lot of time. Nick addressed it. trying to get back as quick as he can. But at the end of the day, he won't be ready to the bye to be an impact player. Gardner Johnson brought back the attitude and something that the team missed a year ago. Here again, here's something here. Isn't it funny? Head football coach of your football team is singling out Zach Bond. They asked him about Gardner Johnson at his press conference Sunday. How about this one, Barb? And he was talking about how Gardner Johnson brings kind of like an attitude to the huddle and all that. He stopped a question he was answering to point out Zach Bond. What's that tell you? Hey, N'Kobe, you in trouble. You're in trouble, kid. I mean, if I were you, I'd start honing my skills up on punt return and punt coverage and kickoff coverage. Start getting some of the rules on these new kickoff things. Because you got a head coach identifying a guy who was a free agent over you in a presser. It's good shit. That's good shit. It's good stuff, man. Players talking. Gardner Johnson is I don't know why I don't like this guy more. Told the media, shut the fuck up. No Bradbury questions. I'm a winner. Offense is doing a lot of new things, a lot more options. Vic's mentality in his scheme, no shit. Guy has no filter. None. I don't give a shit what you think of me, and I don't give a shit about you. He's talking to the media. Dude, I don't know how that goes over for snowflake media guys. But that kind of stuff right there, man, rub your ass the wrong way. I like that shit, actually. I dig that. I don't give a shit what you think about me, and I don't care about you. I don't care about you. I try, people try to get under my skin sometimes on Twitter, and I'm just like, sometimes I just tell them, hey, guy, some of the things that you've been saying for over a year, I'm just going to make a point to you, man. If you're hit by a bus, I don't care. I don't care. You're on my Twitter page talking shit. I don't care. You want to have a dialogue back and forth? I care. But if you want to just keep talking shit to me, I don't give a shit if you're hit by a bus. I don't care. And people in here, that doesn't apply to you. You know why? The people that talk shit to me in here come back every day. So that doesn't apply to you guys. Honest to God. That's why nobody gets blocked in here. It does not apply to you. Okay? So I want that to be clear. Same people who talk shit to me like Crowley or Twiz or Prince or LJ or whoever. That doesn't apply to you guys. Because you're here supporting us. And I could never say that to you. Okay? Want that clear. Zach Bond's a tough dude, he said. This guy, man, I tell you, I should be a little bit more, but I think it's hard for me because he's a Gator guy. I'll do my best when it comes to that. Vic Fangio, man. Holy shit. Is that guy a dose of reality? Here's who you are. Look at the way Nick Sirianni answers questions compared to Vic. No, he's not ready yet. Yeah, I don't want to answer that question. You're like, I want to hear more Vic. They only give him 15 minutes, too. I'll tell you what, man, his mentality is going to get that team ready on that side of the ball. And they are going to play the best guys. So let's, without further ado, guys been doing a really great job for Birds 365 and all the stuff they did over the weekend, man. They really had a great weekend. That was Xander and John McMullen. By the way, I want to say this about John McMullen and the job that he does. Tireless job, really great insight. He gives you a bird's eye view. You know, it's one thing, some of the people that I know. And by the way, one of the storylines that we gave you at the top of the program, Shaquille Quarterman being added, was a Clint Hurt hire. Obviously recruited him for the University of Miami. He knew him. We all know him. So they recommended him to Vic. I think he's played in 63 ball games. And then they recommended him to Howie, and Howie signed him. Shows you the kind of impact Fangio has. Hey, I need this guy. So they went out and got Quarterman. Without further ado, one thing that JAKIB does, man, we give you a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And here's our friend, Xander Krause.